Kiper Jr.'s rebuttal to Todd McShay, also known as his final mock draft. And he not only doesn't have Trey Lance going to the Niners, he has Mac Jones there. He has the Patriots trading up to number 7, which would mean that they would have to make a trade with the Lions to take Trey Lance. Okay, that's where they differ. They think Trey Lance, Todd McShay thinks Trey Lance is going to go to the Patriots. He thinks that Bill Belichick's going to do something that he has never done, draft a quarterback in the first round, move up to draft a quarterback in the first round. I'm going to start with you, Louis Riddick, your reaction to Mel Kiper.
I love it. I love it. Look, I do think that the 49ers are going to stay locked in on Mac Jones. I mean, now watch, they'll pick Trey Lance. But I think they're going to stay locked in on Mac Jones, and they're going to pick him. And we're going to talk about that for about 2 or 3 more months, and the fan base out there is going to lose their mind. But I think as far as Trey Lance is concerned, I think Adam hit on a very important thing that I have heard the same as I continue to talk to people. Look, Trey, from having met him too up there at North Dakota State during his pro day, this kid is, I'm telling you, he is wired right. He has all of what you're looking for at quarterback other than, you know, the number of starts that ideally you would like. As far as his football intellect, his football smarts, the amount of responsibility they gave him, his leadership, his toughness, his physical skills. That is something I know how Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick look at this position. I know from the neck up they value certain things. And if they feel, if Trey Lance is there and San Francisco passes on him, with the way Trey has been nailing this pre-draft process from a football intellect standpoint, and I've heard nobody say anything otherwise, I could see this move happening 100 out of 100 times if they can get the right deal in place to move up and take him. I think him or Mac Jones will be the 2 guys they're going to try and get.
Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, touching on Trey Lance, I haven't heard a single good thing about Trey Lance. Everything is great. It's all like no one speaks even good about him. Everything you hear about Trey Lance is how great of a player he is, how great of a player he's got the potential to become, how great of a leader he is, how smart he is. I said this story a couple weeks ago that, you know, he would organize Thursday night throwing sessions as a freshman in college. I mean, the amount of confidence that you have to have in your ability to go into a program that has a history of success like NDSU and organize Thursday night throwing sessions, that says a lot about a player. And I think if he does not go 3, that's when those teams like New England and Pittsburgh and Chicago and Washington are chomping at the bit. And they're going, that's the guy that we really wanted. And that's the player that we think can go be great. We have to go move. And if it costs us another first, it costs us another first. Who cares? Go get your quarterback.
Let me flip this question a little bit for you, RC. Let's say you're Trey Lance and you're watching our show right now, because of course, what else would you be doing today? And you see on one mock draft, you're going to the Niners, and on the other, you're going to New England. If you're Trey Lance, where would you prefer to go? What's the better fit? Because, yeah, you got the Josh McDaniels factor. Talking about a Niners team that's yoked. They were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think you lose there either way. And we've talked so much about position and where you fall and what the organization is. If you go to San Francisco, you are happy as hell. You go to New England, you are just as happy. But I think the thing that I've learned, or just the thing that struck me, was that Trey Lance is kind of the one. Obviously, we all know Trevor Lawrence. We understand Zach Wilson. But Trey Lance seems to be the domino or the chess piece that changes the draft, right? Because on one hand, if Mac Jones is not drafted 3rd, we feel, or people feel, or Todd McShay feels, he will fall all the way to 15. If Trey Lance is not drafted 3rd, Mel Kiper believes that he's nailed this process so much that someone will move up to get him. And I think that says more about Trey Lance than anyone else in this draft, because he's had the least amount of starts, the least amount of opportunity. We know the least about him, but just in talking to him, just in learning more about him, people have seemed to like him more. He's grown on these teams because of his intellect. And when I hear he's grown because of his intellect, his leadership, and then you do understand the physical tools, this guy seems like someone that really can't miss. Maybe he takes a while to develop, but it's his upside, the upside we should be talking about, that makes him a potential all-time great.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to think he's got the highest ceiling and potentially the lowest floor. I'm interested in it feels sometimes like recency bias. Like, it feels like Trey Lance knew he needed to hold a second pro day after everybody else had their pro day, 8, 9, 10 days ago, so that he would be fresh on everyone's mind as we move into the draft. Louis, do you think that some of the volatility that we're seeing in terms of who's a favorite from day to day comes from the fact that some some of these teams can't do the same sort of due diligence that they would have in pre-COVID times?
I think that could possibly be part of it. You know what, El? I think also this, because the pre-draft cycle was so long, that I think as we move through this process, we, meaning the people who are talking about it on TV for a living, we kind of like contribute to that volatility naturally, because we're intrigued about some of the reports that are coming out from these different pro days, and when you see a Trey Lance have a second pro day, you go, oh my God, and then we see him throw the football, we go, now he has to be the best quarterback. And then if Zach Wilson throws this, wow, did you see that throw that Zach Wilson just made? And then when Justin goes, man, you see how fast Justin is? You see him throw the football?
Right.
I think overall inside of buildings, it's a little more even keel. Although they are not immune at all to changing their minds either, as I had laid out what happened to us in Washington. I mean, they're human beings too. They have emotions too about this. They change their minds too. I think they have all along had the people that they like, but there's no question that as this process has gone on, Trey Lance in particular is blowing people away with the way he conducts himself.
Dan?
I can't hear you, but I'm talking. I think two things. Picking a quarterback is like picking a spouse, okay? Like, it is. And there's different things that are going to be intriguing to different organizations. That's a big point. And the second thing is this. The reality is what will determine if these guys become great and what they should become, we don't know about. And that's why it is important to spend time with these guys. What is their character? How are they on a day-to-day basis? The lonely work that is going to be necessary for them to go be great. Guys like us on television, we don't get that time with those guys, okay? And that's the stuff that is really going to determine if they go become great players or not.
By the way, I can't hear you, but I'm still talking would be the name of my book if I had
my
autobiography.
That was solid.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.